Welcome, everyone, to the QSL podcast. I'm Really Reed. I'm live here today with Energy on the bottom here, and of course, Deadline. Hello, howdy. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Yeah, we're big chilling right now.
Big chillin'. You know, this is my first time ever running a podcast, so I'm going to be a bit out of sorts here. We are kind of learning on the fly here, folks. So if you have any requests in the chat, please feel free to put them in here. But starting off with the podcast, I thought we would go about introducing who we are. Later on, we'll have Poe kind of stepping in. We're going to do a Q&A with her, kind of talk to her about what her plans are, what her hopes and what her goals are kind of with the season here in QSL as a whole, and then of course we can talk a little bit more about the games themselves. But the intention here is not to just be sort of floating about the results, talking simply about information you can find on the Discord itself. Our goal here is to be a kind of personality show where kind of keep you entertained, keep you up to date with everything QSL. Deadline, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself, my man?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I'm Deadline. I am a 16-year esports veteran, playing Halo, Call of Duty, any game I can get my hands on. I've been playing Smite since Xbox Open Beta. I'm also the Huddles captain for the King's Court. Just looking forward to hanging out, having a good time, and bringing you guys some great content.
So, Deadline is the only one who is biased on this podcast. Both I and Energy are not associated with any team.
Allegedly biased.
We'll see with the upcoming weeks. Energy, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself, my man?
Sure. I'm Energy. I've been playing Smite since closed beta, so a good solid decade now. Or actually, yes, it's longer than a decade now. Time flies when you're sort of having fun.
Sometimes.
But Yeah, as far as I've played Smite competitively for probably 6 years now. Before that, I played Battlefield competitively. Just a lot of competition all around. I coach a lot of Smite teams. I'm coaching 3 right now, and I've coached probably 15 or 20 before this, and I really just love the game. I love talking about the game, and I love doing it with people. So, here we go.
Dude, I'm excited to talk to you about it and just kind of pick your brain and get some of that knowledge to sort up in both of y'all. Both of you are very experienced, and I kind of feel out of sorts with, I guess, sort of taking a step forward with this podcast because I'm the least competitive out of the 3 of us, I believe. In a lot of ways, I have done competitive things, but most of it has been in MMOs. If I can actually take a second here just to tell a little story. I've been playing Smite for a long time as well, over this kind of decade or so, maybe a little bit longer, going in since before Season 1. But I actually met a member of the Smite community, a honored member, one well adjusted into the kind of ranks and echelon of the folks here around Hi-Rez and Smite itself. Some may know him as DM Brandon. I met him in World of Warcraft. Who was my guild master at the time, and that went about as well as you could expect.
What a guy.
Yeah.
What a guy.
So that's my legacy, my pedigree.
No comment.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time around him around like Season 5 and 6 while we were playing World of Warcraft Legion. And you know what? Dude made me feel bad for buying a necklace on the auction house, so good riddance, I say.
Yeah. If anything, that's a colossal understatement. We'll open with that. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So that's basic introductions kind of gone ahead for the 3 of us. And we've all played a good bit of Smite. I think now let's kind of shift the focus away from us for only a moment, just to kind of talk about the games this weekend that came by and what's kind of coming up. Now, the general kind of game plan for our streams going forward for QSL for the next, I believe, 7 or more so weeks here is we'll be doing 1 game on Fridays. That's going to be always our live games here. We're going to be doing Abyss last week. Now Deep Sea is coming up this week on Friday. Going forward, it's going to be Abyss for the 3rd week. Then it's going to go down to the Shallows. Then to Abyss, then Puddles, then end on Abyss. So we're always kind of cycling back towards our top echelon of gamers, the kind of masters and grandmasters here in Smite. But we'll always cycle back around so that everyone can be part of this community, get a game casted in, and kind of have that excitement around them. And of course, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, we'll be streaming the games after they've been played, and kind of displaying the skill of a lot of these players. I think we actually streamed one of your games on Monday, right, Deadline?
Yeah, the less said about it, the better. Series, but you know what? I have faith in my team. We're gonna make a nice comeback, and just wait till playoffs time. That's all I'm gonna say.
You know what? I would actually love to kind of pick your brain about that. How do you feel about it going off overall? You just said that you'd rather not talk about it, but I'm going to force you into this.
I mean, we had some very bright spots. Obviously, the early game of Game 1 specifically was very good. We had a lot of map pressure early, a lot of roam.
It was so even Game 1.
It was very even going, especially into the mid game. A couple botched objective fights, some bad rotations. Things like that happen, especially at the Puddles level. It's kind of just about who can play as a team better. But I mean, we definitely had a few mistakes that we obviously need to work on going into our game this week versus the crew. But I'm always looking forward to what comes next. And I think the most important thing is I'm not to overlook any team, but my goal is playoffs.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is the goal. The goal is winning, and I'm doing everything in my power to make sure this team comes back to the top.
100%, man. And we will be bringing in captains and owners of these organizations here going into the future. This week, we've got Poe on the track, the owner of the league itself. But Deadlight, since you're here and we can kind of just, pick on you, pick your brain, get your kind of expectations, who do you think is your biggest kind of threat in the kind of puddle league, you think?
Right now, so we've only played Vanguard, and they were definitely a solid team.
Shout out to Lana.
I'm looking at Capicorp as well. Cafe in the mid lane. She was on my draft board going into the draft. A solid player, has a great understanding of the game. Realistically, I don't see anyone above anyone else. I try not to get in that mindset, because you go into games thinking they're going to be easier than what they actually are.
Yeah, makes sense.
But any team in this league is competition, and honestly, no matter who we're playing, I want to go in and smash them all.
Yeah, no, I get you, man.
That energy.
So to be the best, you gotta beat the best, and if you don't go in, sometimes you don't go into games with that mindset, and having utmost confidence in any decision that you and your team makes, then honestly, you may as well have lost the game already.
Yeah, I think I heard a little bit around the grapevine that Underworld on the Abyss side of things were looking very confident going into this set on Friday. But they actually took a loss against Fallen Angels. They went 2-1, winning that first game, but then losing it in the end. Going in so confident, like you're saying, Deadlight, doesn't always result in the best of things. Henergy, did you get a chance to kind of catch into any of the games this weekend, or is there anything that you're kind of excited for coming up?
Yeah, so I didn't get to catch any of the games this weekend live. I did watch at least one replay. What I'm most interested in is you have a really, at least on the Abyss side, you have a really interesting collection of rosters here. There are a lot of players here that have played with each other for 5, 6, 7 years at points. There's a lot of familiarity in the Smite competitive scene, probably because the community can be kind of small, so you end up seeing a lot of these familiar faces now and again. But there's also some beefs, that go. As much as there's friendship, there's also the less so, the antagonism, and those always make for really interesting matchups. So as we get further into this season, I'm really looking to see how these teams kind of mesh up together, whether or not the chemistry's there. You'll see it time and again how so many teams on paper can put together a really strong roster of really good individuals, but whether or not they can actually mold that into something that works as a unit kind of can fall apart. So I am looking at that. I don't want to call anybody out in the first cast, so I'm not going to. There are a couple of these rosters where there's no judgment. I wonder if it's going to last until the end of the season. So I hope to be proven wrong, but you never know. But that's
you can always send me those after the podcast, what you're thinking.
I just might. And then kind of sliding down a little bit and looking more towards Deep Sea. Again, a lot of familiar faces for me. Coaching as many folks as I have at this point, a lot of these guys are familiar to me. Several of them I've coached multiple times. Also true for Abyss. There's a lot of really quality players across all of these divisions. I don't mean to single anybody out, but there's something really nice about watching Deep Sea sets, because you get to see players really develop more than you probably do at the Abyss level.
I love Deep Sea. I 100% agree.
So I'm really looking forward to that, because it happens every time. Like, regardless of what league you play in or which one you watch, like, it's always the upper middle or middle tier that seems to move the most. And that's really fulfilling, just like to see players develop in that way. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as we shift into regular season form.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I'm excited to see exactly just how much use out of the map and the changes with Season 11 that Abyss can take. But I'm also, as a viewer perspective, as I typically am, unlike you guys, I don't really get involved with the leagues on the kind of ground floor. I kind of just stay to the sky as a caster. And as that kind of viewer perspective, Deep Sea consistently is one that I always kind of catches my eye. These kind of middle tiers, middle upper tiers, like you're describing. I also, going back to Puddle for a moment, I was very, very impressed with those games. That did not feel like the kind of average bronze to kind of gold game. There was actually a lot more kind of consideration and team tactics going on there than what I would expect. The individual player, of course, was not up to the level of like an Abyss or a Deep Sea player, but there was sound strategy. I think as like a caster, we've had plenty of games before, maybe we can all say this, right? Where there's kind of just like, it's arena, right? There's kills going back and forth 24/7. Maybe you can speak on this more from a personal standpoint, Deadline, but that game overall was pretty respectable on like the kills and everything like that we watched here on Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I think there were a couple misplayed objective opportunities. I know we had one in game one towards, I think it was the first Gold Fury, where we had 3 kills towards the upper side purple on the order side, and then we just dove a little too deep and didn't have enough time to come back and get gold. So we had solo teleport behind us, and then we had to back off the objective. So it's just about recognizing those opportunities sooner, and I think that's something that myself as a captain and has to look at and be ready to figure out when it's time to get objectives and rally everyone back sort of from the arena mindset of we're diving completely to get these kills and then not really kind of getting anything out of it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think in general, I'm very excited to keep up with all the leagues this season. I'm excited to see the stories kind of develop and play out through Abyss, and I'm excited to see the kind of development throughout Deep Sea, Shallows, and Puddles. Of course, Shallows were the only match I didn't get to cast and like kind of watch myself directly, so I know the least about it. If anyone wants to interject about their games, I feel kind of bad for leaving them out right now. But that might just be the nature of the beast. Of course, with this podcast, this is the first episode that we're ever doing as a triumvirate, as a group here. And going forward, we are looking to kind of keep it a lot more organized, a lot more consistent. We're trying to keep that throughout the case for QSL in general, right? So every single Friday, you can expect our live games around the same time, that 8 p.m. EST. Going forward, Saturdays and Sundays are 2 p.m. EST, Saturdays 2 p.m. EST. My brain skipping a beat here for a moment. As we go to Monday, we're gonna be filming those at 7 p.m. EST, and these podcasts are no different. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. EST, every single time. That's about what we're aiming for. You might be saying, you started a little bit late this time, Reed. Yeah. Well, we're trying to be pretty consistent, I think, right?
Listen, are you a real streamer if you don't go live late? Are you even a real streamer or content creator?
Listen,
in a way, this is the most perfect way it could have began. We're sticking true to the roots of streamers everywhere by not starting on time, and I think you have to value the grind that we put in to make that happen. So, no slander accepted here.
Love the consonants that you hit that with too, just like the dejection of it. You gotta really appreciate the grind we put into being late.
Yeah, I believe in committing to the bit.
Captain Holt. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I am in incredible pain.
I'm devastated.
No, yeah. So, I think we will be having Poe come on and kind of join us for Q&A here very soon, but I wanted to take a second about kind of like the plans that we had here for the podcast in the future. So of course, I think we're gonna implement a lot of these coming up next week. This one, you know what, boys? This is the pilot. You ever watch a TV show and it's like really rough around the edges for the first episode? That's what we're on right now. Will it get better?
Breaking Bad.
Hopefully.
It's Breaking Bad.
Was Breaking Bad a bad pilot?
It's not that it's a bad pilot, that it starts very slow. It starts slow, but then once you get into it after a couple episodes, it starts to kind of crescendo up.
Well, I'm hoping we start off like moderate and then get, better and better. Welcome back, Energy.
Thank you.
And so overall, what our game plans are, we're of course going to have sections where we kind of go through what happened the week prior, right? We're going to talk about what games have elapsed, who won, who lost, who kind of stood out to us.
We got the classic stream down. No, we're back.
There we go. Okay, cool. You know,
Nailed it.
Again, are you a real streamer if you don't have technical issues on a stream? We're trying to
anyways,
we really said commit to the bit before
Yeah.
this started, and now we're really committing to the bit.
we're doing a pretty good job if I don't, say so myself. But nonetheless, as I was kind of saying before I got so rudely interrupted by Comcast, posed on a great bit of effort in trying to cultivate a kind of stronger casting core here in the QSL. So going forward, we're going to be trying to have it to where you can see your same casters on the same days for the most part, every single time, right? Like, I know I'm going to be there for most Fridays. I'm going to try to get around with the rest of the casters and see what days work best for them. I know, like, this week, Energy, you signed up for, I think, the weekend, like Saturday, Sunday?
I have Friday, Monday, actually.
Yeah. The opposite of what I said.
The opposite of what you said, but it's okay. It's the first weekend. We're all trying to find what works for us, so
Yeah.
all bets are off.
Yeah, so in the future here, we are trying to just make everything around QSL be very, very organized so that you can expect to see us at the exact same times, for the most part, at the exact same days, right? Yeah.
I mean, we're hitting off without a hitch. Games are going on. Everything is looking on the up and up.
Yeah.
Everything is looking good. And I have to say, coming back this season, especially for myself, it's awesome to see the improvements being made and all the work everyone's putting in. And it's exciting to see what the future holds, especially with a brand new game on the horizon.
Yeah, do you guys want to talk about Smite 2 for a second here?
I'm
Why
down.
not?
Why not?
Okay, yeah. Let's dive into that for just a moment here, because I'm very, very excited to see all the changes. I can't remember what else I was hearing, but of course, like we know, Ymir, for an example, a god that's been in the game for so long, is getting like a rocket jump off his walls and things like that.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready for all the clips. I'm ready for someone to edit that into a COD like montage clip with like the kill by 30 seconds to Mars. You know that meme?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
They're
I'm
just,
like, that's gonna happen, and I'm ready for it.
it just feels like they're shaking up so much fundamentally that we are actually going to be going into a brand new game.
Yes, exactly. Which I'm very excited for, especially seeing everything is really changing. I mean, as an on her main, the on her changes and watching the ultimate, that was just like
He has like one more big spear, right?
Instead of just a giant flurry of spears, like each spear does like more damage, and it's like the last spear is like an epic like throw,
Yeah.
which honestly looks beautiful. I mean, I'm not usually the type to look, but the game looks beautiful. I'm just very excited to see how it plays, especially with all the item changes,
Mm-hmm.
god changes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so much new that's gonna be in the game. It's going to be relearning everything all over, and then we're gonna probably have a new crop of players come in.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the game transferring to Unreal 5.
It's such an exciting time to be a Smite fan. Energy, is there anything that like really caught your eye?
There's a few things. I mean, the graphics is an obvious one. I mean, it is a night and day different, probably several nights and days difference between Unreal 3 and Unreal 5. But I think just being more of a solo player, obviously, we haven't seen too much of a lot of the god kits that are going to get transferred over, but we have seen Chalk. And I do
Ooh.
like the changes they've made to Chalk with the kind of the rainstorm having like updated graphic effects and Stormcall kind of the same thing. I think what I'm most interested about, though, at the risk of being a little bit nerdy about it, is I work in UI design kind of in my day-to-day life, and I really am intrigued by the updated UI that they've kind of gotten to house all of the cool changes that they've got right now. Obviously, there's going to be a new store, there's going to be new items and all of that, but also the way that god abilities and items are displayed just on your screen is completely different. And that's going to be a big change for a lot of people. I think we all remember when they launched like the cleaner UI sometime in the last year, and ended up breaking a lot of things.
Hit or
so
miss in a lot of ways.
It was, I think hit or miss is probably much kinder than maybe it deserves. But I think they also probably took a lot of lessons from that with this new one. So I am really interested to see exactly how well it works out, because nobody wants it to work well more than me. But it also would be kind of funny if it didn't work and we ended up having to transfer the old 2012 UI or whatever we're on now in there.
There's no way. Though,
There's no
right?
way.
There's no way.
It'll be branded as something like Smite Classic UI, and then it'll just sell.
I think that's actually pretty fun. I think if they like sold like little packs for like, I don't know, a few hundred gems or something like that, with just like different UI customizations, like that would be cool. Like if you look at fighting games and things like that, like Tekken 8 here came out recently, you could very much just kind of have different art styles and things like that show up on your UI, and they already do like the fountain effects and stuff like that. So I think with a brand new game, that could actually be very fun, especially for the UI guys like you, Energy.
Yeah. I think also the thing about Smite especially is the customization of your UI. So it's gonna be interesting to see how much of that we get with Smite 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I mean, as far as I know, Smite's one of the only games you could really go in there and customize every single bit of your UI.
Yeah.
Whether it's where your mini map, your abilities, the kill icons, health icons for the neutral objectives, all of that kind of thing.
I hope they don't take that away in Smite 2.
That's what I don't want to do that. I want like at least my mini map. Like if I could just, I mean, as long as I get my mini map to where I like it, where I it's different for everyone, but I just have it like a lot wider in comparison, and then like a few things shoveled off to the side. I'd really like that. But I mean, like I said, we're getting hands on the alpha. I think they said within the next month or two when they initially talked about it.
Yeah.
So
I think they were saying end of March for the alpha, right?
Yeah, exactly. End of March, April kind of time.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if it's end of March, I'm going to be really upset because I'll be working PAX. I'll be at PAX East, and I won't be able to play it, and I'll be very upset.
Yeah, it might just be what it is. I think I remember them saying sometime around like the March 25th, 28th slots when they're kind of planning on it.
Of course.
But if we look at the historic way that they've unveiled it, right? They do it to where it kind of trickles down and gets larger and larger, right? So maybe, you know, we wouldn't be in that first group, but you'd be in the second group on like April 5th or something.
That's very true.
Well, also, you got to bear in mind too. That's what they said for when they were going to release it. There's no way for us to guarantee that that's actually when it's going to get released. They've definitely delayed some of these releases before. So.
Yeah, but they're saying that with the Smite 2, with the UE5 and everything like that, that they're actually able to develop a lot faster now.
Sure.
So maybe as a whole, we can expect things just to be a bit more consistent with when they claim things will come out.
Yeah, didn't they say like when they initially rebuilt the Conquest map, they did it in like a month or something like that? I don't remember where it was, but when they were doing like one of the interviews, or I think it was maybe at the panel they had at SWC, they talked about how like initially, like before it was decided Smite 2 was gonna happen, they like rebuilt the entire Conquest map to get it functioning, and they said it took them like a month and some change or something like that.
Yeah.
Give or take. So like that speed, especially because all the assets are being completely rebuilt into Unreal 3, and I actually Unreal 5, and I talked to like a couple of my game dev friends who were like, that takes, I mean, it's a lot of work, and just to be able to do it in that extended amount of time is very interesting to see. We're gonna maybe getting more updates quicker and things like that, especially early on.
I think a fun thing to kind of note, especially from the casting, the whole amateur league side of things, is that we're gonna be getting an entirely new spectator as well.
Oh, that is very true.
Yeah, and
not a moment too soon.
Like, we've been stuck with the spectator for so long, and I've heard people, especially on our production side of things, say like they can't even do things like rewind or else it breaks the entire kind of ecosystem of it. I've heard people who've like been involved with the world's production, right, say whenever that whole coup buff thing was going on, where like Nika kept on ulting for the coup buff, and like people wanted replays, people wanted like just big moments to be made around the coup buff. Like it was such a pain just to kind of get information like that, to get kind of film just like that. And now we're living in this whole new era where we're going to have a brand new game, whole new systems to dive deep into, an all new player base, and we'll actually be able to film it, hopefully, and it won't be like pulling teeth for our production side of things.
That is real committing to the bit, by the way, with totem with the totem.
Yeah.
He's commit of a buffer. It's not like it's the entire community got in on the buffs.
One of the weirdest group moments I've ever witnessed on a stream.
Honestly, yeah.
One of the funniest, but one of the weirdest.
The memes about it though were quality.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, oh my god, that was honestly, I was watching it in the break room at my work on my lunch breaks.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing my butt off, and all my coworkers were like, "What the heck are you watching?" And I
It's
just
impossible to explain.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
It's better if I don't tell you. It's fine.
It's some of the best moments in Smite where we just have people do ridiculous stuff like that. Like 667 Weekend was always pretty funny with the Odin and whatnot. And I think over the years we've kind of developed more and more of this kind of just like texture around the Smite community where people in these world matches or just in professional leagues do just inane things like that.
I think the better part about it, besides that, was the memes that came out.
Oh, 100%.
Of the totem buffs. I think Betty had one where it's like Doug having to go back, and it's like the old guy like slouching his chair, having to hit the button again.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the memes were just quality.
Yeah, there's some quality stuff there for sure. Yeah, it was a good Worlds. I mean, I know we're not strictly speaking talking about Worlds, but it seemed like a very fitting Worlds to kind of end that particular era of Smite on.
Can we just talk about how we had a Ymir, one of the original gods, get picked in the final match of Worlds ever? I feel like we don't talk about that enough.
Honestly, it's only because we don't talk about it because of the wall. That one wall the genetics put by the purple buff to lock Netriot in.
Trolled his own teammate?
Yes, that is exactly why it probably doesn't get talked about, because it's one of those things that's been questioned.
Questioned, yes, but then you kind of get into the is one bad play enough to kind of annul a relatively good performance? And in some cases, yes, I guess if it costs you Worlds, but
yeah, you gotta be a little bit careful with that one.
Yeah, maybe that logic is best saved for another segment. But yeah, in a way though, that is the most fitting Ymir thing that could happen. Like the only more fitting thing would be like trying to wall off a retreating enemy and then screwing up your teammate that way, as opposed to blocking it off, or
walling and then completely somehow missing the freeze.
Yeah, missing the freeze on a stationary target. Like that would have been perfect if he had capped it off with that. But anyway, solid Worlds.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's one of the best Worlds we could have ever asked for, especially as the final one. And I would like to say, we always give Ymir, we always dogpile onto Ymir for the bad walls, but Thor gets played so much more often and has probably caused so much more pain for teams with his own wall. We never cast blame onto him, the god of thunder.
But can't you leap? You can leap over the Thor wall.
You can leap over your wall.
Can you leap over your Ymir walls?
Yes.
Am I just an idiot? Am I just an idiot?
The captain.
Listen, there's a reason I'm puddles. We've got okay. We don't need to dogpile onto me. There's a reason I'm puddles. Okay. There's a reason I'm puddles, and we're just gonna leave it at that.
You can leap over every wall in the game as long as it's not too thick.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me today in the games, you get stuck
man-made in wall. Any player-made wall.
You get stuck in a Ymir wall while Atlas dashing.
No, you can leap over your wall.
No, like I was in the wall. We were playing. I was playing earlier with some of the other Puddles people, and it was me and Vile duo, and we got invaded like level 3,
Mm-hmm.
and and I'm dashing through the backside of our purple to get to our tower, and I'm mid dash, and my screen just goes insane into this green wall. I'm like, oh, what? I'm in the Ymir wall, and then I come out somehow on their side of it, and then get frozen and die.
Well, you can look forward to that not happening when it transfers to Unreal 5. So that's to look forward to.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Sorry.
I'm just thinking of what Atlas would look like in Unreal 5.
He looks sick. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
I mean, he would look insane. Like he already
Even
looks
more swole.
I'm gonna interrupt us here for just a moment because I can see someone in the chat asking who we all are. I have not put up name tags for us yet. Why is that? We've been over this. This is the pilot. This is the rough entry, right? But I'm really Reed down here to the bottom. That is going to be the one and only. Why am I blinking? It's so embarrassing. You've got the name muted in Discord. It's like a dot. I'm streaming. My cheat. Okay.
There you go.
Go with your names, please. I know Deadlock, that's easy. Your name's a little bit harder for me just because it's like unconventional.
I'm Henergy in the
Henergy.
bottom left corner of the stream.
Thank
So
you.
we're good to go.
I
And then of
respect your
course the
energy.
duck.
I hope you know that.
And I'm dead
I do.
whatever corner
I do.
of the stream I'm in. Is it this way? Is it that way? Is it that way, or do I need to go this way?
I think there you
You're
go.
in the
You got
top
it.
right. You're in the
This
top.
way?
You're
This
in the
way?
top.
Yeah, you got it with the top right.
There. I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
But
Professional streamer.
oh, 100%. It's the best podcast on the website for sure.
All
I
the
think
audio
it's time-
listeners are going to be really amused.
I think it's time we bring in Poe. I can see you hanging around in the Discord channel. If you're ready to go, we can bring you on up and start talking with the very own owner of QSL.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing, Poe?
I'm here. I'm good. How are you guys?
Can't
Absolutely chilling.
Nick? Yeah.
Is there a duck where I'm supposed to be?
There was a duck. Now we've removed the duck.
Oh, okay. I see it now. I love that picture. Somebody made that for me.
Absolutely. So, Poe, I know you wanted to kind of have like a video unveiling the new logo. We can go ahead and do that right now, or we can dive in and start kind of asking you questions about the league, what you're excited about, what's coming up. What are you feeling like? What do you want to do first? What do you want to introduce?
You can hi Noxus. I know you too. You can play a little video. It is it's literally just the new logo on some water bubbles and stuff. So you can play it. It is the new logo for season 11. I'm excited about it because it's 3D where usually it was so flat. It just was so flat and you couldn't do anything with it. So now it's more 3D. And then there's a whole bunch of other little character ducks that are going to show up in all the YouTube videos of all the casts we do. So he's got a bunch of friends this season too.
So here's the real question. When's the merch coming?
When's the merch?
Yeah, when's the Quacken merch?
I'm gonna look into doing that this season, just because our logos they've evolved now so much, and they're really fun now, and I think people might like them again. So
I mean, I love them. My friends who don't even play
Yeah.
Smite love them.
they love them.
Yeah, my girlfriend
owl.
actually loves it too. Just like it immediately connects with people kind of outside of the leagues or outside of the kind of game
Right.
itself, I think.
As one of my friends who has a 3D printer and he prints ducks for all of my friends, and he like leaves them everywhere, and he's like, "This is awesome."
He likes it. Has he seen the new one? Have you showed him the
Yeah, I haven't
that
shown
one?
I haven't shown anyone the new one yet.
No, that one. That one's so much
because they
better.
saw the original, and my friend posted it in the Discord, or the Discord we're all in. It was like, "Look at this," and they were just laughing and like loving it.
Oh, they do. They do. They like it. It's. I tell you, the Quacken logo has evolved so much since season 1. I'm gonna put together a video in a few weeks. I'm gonna play for everybody, or maybe you guys can play it on the podcast. But it's gonna go back all the way to season 1, and I'm gonna put that first logo in there. It's literally like 2 circles and a triangle beak. It's so bad. It's so bad.
How many logos have you gone through, Poe?
This is the third one. This is only the third one. So we had the original one, and then we had the one that Sphinx, a player that used to play here, he drew the one that just was replaced, and then I made this one.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I like it a lot.
It's a very exciting time for Smite. Like, we were just talking about everything coming up with Smite 2, and of course, right now with a whole...
Exciting.
We kind of have an absence in the league overall, or in the kind of game space overall, since there is no SPL. A lot of eyes, I think, are on the amateur league, kind of seeing like, okay, what metas are developing? And we can see coming out from players in the Abyss and Deep Sea especially, just like a lot of interesting build ideas, how they're generally playing and treating like new elements of the map. This is such an exciting time, an electrifying time to be a part of this league.
It really is. There's a lot going on, and it is a great opportunity for the amateur leagues out there to really shine right now and take that opportunity, because there are no SBL builds. We do see some stuff like on what is it, Smite Source, like they're putting builds on there from like pro players, but since they're not actively out there playing, not everybody's seeing it in action. They're just seeing a build being put up there. So we have that opportunity to cast our games and show our players using some of these builds and what they're doing, and folks are going to be looking for that. So it is pretty exciting for all the players, because they're going to start being looked at and really start focusing on their builds and what they're doing in the games. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, back when Season 2 first came out, I think there was a little bit of a moment before the pro scene really came into fruition, and that's the first time I actually kind of started watching the amateur league, because I was just trying to figure out, okay, how could I do better in my ranked games. It was back when I was just a little bronze pup, and I was trying to make my way up to silver and gold.
That's a rough climb.
It's a rough climb.
It's rougher every year.
Speaking of divisions, we got to talk about one division we missed, brand new this season, the Oasis division. Poe, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we have 2 new divisions this season. So one, did you guys talk about the puddles already?
We did talk a lot about the puddles. We got Deadline on here, and we streamed his game on Monday, so it gave us a lot of opportunity.
I got bullied today, so that was great.
Gotcha. I'm so happy. I want to just talk on puddles for a minute. I'm so happy to have finally been able to bring a 4th division, which also led into us doing the waterfall, which fed into the 5th division, which is the Oasis. Because in all leagues, you always see a lot of folks who they're not drafted, they're left over, and they kind of go AFK for a little bit, because the odds of them being needed to fill in on a team can be slim, because folks are showing up ready to play. So with the waterfall, where you end up with all the folks who were undrafted in the one division, we were able to make a developmental division. We call it the Oasis, so they're like a division, but they're not. So that's why we named it the Oasis, with the water theme. And so they get to still play. Like, they are active, they're engaged, they are put on teams, they are put together. Like, we place them to make them more even. So they're still playing Smite, and then that way they're not going from league to league because no one knows them. Because a lot of times it's just folks that people don't know. They've never heard their name before, or they happen to catch a Smite stream somewhere, and they're like, I want to go do that, and then they found a league. So it's keeping them engaged. They seem really excited about it, and they've got captains that they nominated. And for next season, we're gonna build on that a little bit and bring in some mentors, kind of a throwback to season 2. In QSO, we had what we called the mini league, and we had some high skill players, and they were the mentors, and they named the teams after them, and it was just really fun. It was fun for them. So we want to build on that next season and make the Oasis even bigger.
Yeah. No, I love the idea of the Oasis. Just keeping players involved, because I think kind of the most daunting thing with getting into a league for the first time is just knowing that you're probably not going to be drafted, but having an opportunity to kind of be placed into a division where you can kind of grow and learn and meet people and kind of start making those connections to where the next season you can kind of rise up, enter into that puddle or shallows division and really start playing. I think is just an amazing opportunity you're providing a lot of players.
Yeah, I love it too. Just getting people to play the game. That's the whole point. With the leagues, that's what we want the most. We want them to have fun. We want them to feel competitive. We want them to be able to be playing the game. Not sitting around waiting. So it's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things, and I'm glad we were able to start doing it again and just start building it for folks.
So Oasis is one of your favorite things in this season. Is there anything else that you're like very kind of happy with or excited to see as it kind of develops so far?
I'm the open waterfall to where everybody could fall in each division, down one division. I'm really excited about that. It just seems like the divisions are really even. They look really competitive, and in
They look
last week's
so
games.
competitive.
Yeah, last week's games over the weekend, watching back some of them, it was like these are really good games, whereas before when we had 3 divisions, it's very hard sometimes to put somebody that's kind of on the edge of 2 divisions when you only have 3. It's like do you put them up, do you put them down, and sometimes it would be skewed a little bit. So I'm really excited about how even everything is, and it's going to be competitive, and people are going to have to like sit up and play. They're going to have to
Yeah.
focus. So I'm just excited to watch these games.
They got to go into gamer stance.
Yes, exactly. Yep, they got to sit up.
Yeah, no, it's been a very, very exciting time, especially as a caster. I was saying this kind of earlier, just like how impressed I was going. Like Abyss, you have expectations of them performing very well, right? These are very good players.
Yes, they
they
are.
could definitely beat, I think, most of us here in this chat right now. And then Deep Sea, of course, that developmental section, but still very high skilled. I've not gotten to see Shallows, but Puddles performed very, very well. Deadline to give you a little bit of props here, of course. I think both teams, especially game 1, just looked so clean. I was so impressed by those games.
Definitely. I saw some of the tier lists and kind of had a little bit of a point to prove in the lane. I am not gonna lie. I saw some of the tiers. I'm like, and I'm like the Michael Jordan meme, and I took it personal.
You take it first. What was it? But that was before your game.
I'd seen some of them. It was before the game, but they obviously at the beginning of the season go around, and I saw, put me towards the bottom of the list, and I said, all right. You
Come out of the bout with 2 solos in your lane.
2 solos
per game, right?
I'm very upset that were missed.
I love the tier lists in QSL. Sometimes you can't have them in certain places, and we took them away. A little bit of a history for QSL. We had them in our first season, and then we had to take them away. We took them away for 2 seasons. It was banished to a whole other server, but they wanted it back in, and we're like, if you behave, we'll bring it back. And they did. They were true to their word. The players wanted it back, and we've never had many problems with it. They look at it like inspiration, like Deadline just said. Like they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna put me here, watch this. So they have a good time with it here in QSL. So it's a fun piece for them, for the players.
Get a little bit gassed up. I would actually love to
Yeah.
go through and add like little icons or things like that all to like one of those tier list maker websites, because right now it's on a spreadsheet, right? I would love us just like on the podcast, for example, be like, all right, boys, how we feeling about Abyss?
I wonder if you can make your own. I'm
You
totally
absolutely
researching
can make
that.
your own tier list. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That'll
I've
be
done it
like
before.
a mid-season pod that's like 3 hours long. It'll get really bogged down. It'll be great, but it'll take us forever. So.
Yeah, we're gonna probably just separated one. Yeah, you know what? You got a point there, but
I'm not wrong, but it is a great idea.
it is. Everything's a great idea in concept.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have 3 hours, we don't
Fair.
have 3 hours. But I mean, I could just stay through and do it all. I'd be happy with that. it would just be a kind of a monolith of ideas, but maybe we'd bring in like team captains and like have them kind of debate it with us too. Add even more to the time, but I think it could be fun. I love tier lists. They're like great content. That's like the number one thing that I kind of look to whenever I'm trying to fall asleep at night, and I just kind of throw it on onto my phone. It's like, yeah. Talk to me about Baldur's Gate 3 spells for level 6 tier list.
Oh, this took a turn. This took a weird turn, and I do not know if I feel comfortable with the energy we've created in the studio today.
The energy is
We're
me
gonna
falling
switch.
asleep.
We're just
Oh,
gonna
no,
turn
don't
this
do
into
that.
an ASMR podcast for like 10
Oh.
minutes. So
No.
Oh,
it's just gonna be describing Baldur's Gate though, so it's okay.
Ooh,
It's not rain
laser.
sounds. It's not wind through trees.
So
It's not
funny.
chewing. Like, come on, guys.
All right.
oh yeah,
Lock in. Lock in.
No. No
Lock
chewing.
it.
That's funny. It's really exciting, a new season, and we this season, another thing that I'm excited about is kind of like, I feel like it's a player season. We'd been around 10 seasons, and in the 11th season we're like, we need to change. We need to change up some things. So we did a whole lot of things. We refocused things into the team aspect, and we took a lot of player feedback, and all of our changes we made starting in season 11. Those are all from player feedback, like directly from the players. So I'm excited to see how all of those changes play out and see if everybody's happy with them and it works like they thought it would. So and so far it seems to be like I'm very excited about this season. It's fun so far.
Hell yeah. And I imagine it's a bit like Whack-A-Mole, right? Where it's just like, you know what, we tried this, but now people are complaining about it, we're gonna whack that down. Oh, here's a new problem we didn't account for, let's whack that down. Just kind of being adaptable as you can be. It's always kind of an ever-shifting thing, I think. Especially when so much of it is reliant on mass and kind of public opinion.
Yeah, it really is. You just have to be willing to be adaptable, I think, and we definitely are. We will make changes.
Absolutely. That's the one thing I've seen coming back into the league. And it's been definitely an exciting time to come back to the league, and it feels really good and really fun. And a lot of those changes are, in my opinion, are working well. But obviously, it's still very early. But I'm definitely excited.
It is early. It is early, and it's nice to have your aspect of that. Somebody coming back where it had been kind of stale, just because we've been doing the same thing for so long, and then now coming in, you're one that can see the difference. So that's awesome to hear your aspect of what it feels like from the old days to now. That's awesome.
I'm about to shake my cane. Back that day, we had a mid-season draft.
I know how you feel. Like we're probably like the nursing home of like all the leagues. Like we've been here since 2020. There's not many amateur leagues that are still around from 2020. So I feel like I need a cane myself. Like walk around with it. Maybe I'll make that the logo. I'll put a cane in there for the duck. I think I like it.
I think especially for like 2026,
top hat.
2028.
Yeah.
Wait, when does the duck turn? Oh, duck will turn 10 in 2030. If we get the 2030, we gotta put the cane. We gotta give it a little beard. You can do like a what's his name, like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, that would totally fit.
We already got a little Daffy Duck with the Cthulhu elements, right? Like we can always take it another way.
I love it. I'm gonna start now on them.
10 or a few years in advance, but
Yeah.
It's gonna be when 10 years hits, break glass.
There's been plenty of time to get it immaculate looking. I think in general,
I'll need that much time.
Yeah. There's a lot to be excited about. You're also not just running the league itself, but you're also running your own kind of team, right? How do you feel about Underworld overall, since we can kind of talk about, the bias here in Quacken Smite League?
Quacken Smite League, yeah. It's, I tell you what, I love it. I love it. I hate that I can't run them. That I can't run them here. I hate it. But at the same time, it also gives like people that I have met in the community for so long, over 4 years. Even before I started this, then I was in like the community, like Smite communities and stuff. So like 5 years, people I've met and everything. So it's awesome to see like somebody else take something I created, and then they get to run with it. So it's I like it. And then I get to go into other leagues. Since I can't do anything here, since I own it, I get to go into other leagues and then meet other league owners and talk to them and see how they're doing things and be inspired and just be out there in the community. So having the underworld to go out amongst the other leagues, so to speak, it's been really good, and I love the teams. I like everybody that comes in, and then people stay so much, and I think they stay for the cat gifts over there. We there's a whole channel over there. You can ping me with cat gifts. People love to do that. But yeah, it's really fun because I've just met so many people, and having another place for them to come in and stay, it just keeps you involved in the community, and it's a nice time. I just like all the people and the players and everything.
100%. And I don't know if this is quite your bag here, Poe, but I think we talked about it a little bit last night. How do you feel overall with Underworld Abyss losing that game one, or not losing game one, losing after game one in that Abyss League against Fallen Angels?
The Abyss game. You're talking about the Abyss division. I tell you what. I can't really say I'm like disappointed because like it's my league, so I want everybody to win. So it's always nice to see the teams win. And Fallen has been here many seasons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that org is a player who started here, and he's like, these orgs, I want to start one, and he was like so excited, and he did. That's Uchi. Is that org owner, and then he also has evolved with the players that he's met through it, and made some of them his co-owners, and they manage different teams in different leagues. So it's always nice to see them win because that's a player that started here, and he blew up and made his own org. But it was nice to see Fallen win because I think some of the players on the Underworld team maybe quite didn't think that they were gonna sit up and have a lot of competition. So it was really nice to see how competitive those 3 games were. That's what I love. I love seeing like a good matchup, and so I was proud of how they played, but I was kind of excited that Fallen won.
Honestly, the entire time throughout casting that game on Friday, I was not sure which team was going to pull ahead and which team was going to win. I thought that Underworld came through in game 1 so strong that I was like, all right,
They did.
2 games set. Easy peasy, boys. And then Fallen Angels just came out of nowhere, shaked up the game. Yeah. And we saw that so much across the league that this week 1, for me as like a new caster, was so interesting to watch in the sense that like, it's kind of as we were talking about, team play is most important, and it might just take a game for people to kind of wake up, as you're saying. I can see Cornball down here asking about any plans on stack tracking across players and gods. There's a little bit of dyslexia there, if you would like to answer that at all.
Oh yeah, it's we have a really complex set of stats. With the way we do them though, our statistician, they do come a week behind. So you will start seeing those this weekend after the sets this weekend. Those should start rolling in. What we have worked on is to make them prettier for you this season, because we did have them last season. Like pretty much any stat you could want to have, it's on the sheet. It's on those sheets. We're just gonna make it pretty for you. So those are coming. Yes, yes, they are coming.
Well, boys, I think we're getting a bit closer to kind of wrapping up our very first inaugural podcast here. Is there any more questions we would like to kind of throw out at Poe before we start kind of heading towards the wrap-up?
I wanted to ask you guys a question too.
Go ahead.
We wait to see if anybody has a question for me. Did you guys talk about like things you're gonna do this season in the podcast, so folks kind of know what to expect? Did you guys already do that?
We brought up a little bit about what we got planned to do. We're gonna be kind of covering more so of the games, but we're gonna try to keep this more of a personality-driven podcast as a whole. This is not just gonna be a singular place, or this is not just gonna be only about covering what has happened or what's coming up. It's also gonna be like, hey guys, we're 3 casters. Deadline is a captain of a team in the Puddle Division. come here if you just want to listen to something and be entertained, right? And so, of course, we're going to be trying to line it up to where we talk to more team captains, get their perspectives, or org owners, things like that, kind of get plans kind of going off throughout the season, as well as sometimes just trying to doing something goofy, like maybe, Deadlight talks big game of his on her. 1v1 on hers. I'm garbage at on her, but you know what?
1v1 on her.
I'm at least like a Shallows player, I think.
How long have you played it, Smite? You've told me before, Reed. How long have you played Smite? When did you start?
I started around the end of closed beta, but more so in season 1. Like when Sir Ket came out was the most kind of memorable time where I just played a ton of Smite and really started grinding up from that point, starting off in that bronze 5 position that I think they started everyone at back in the day, and just kind of working through that, the old cursed speech days where people would just blast like, I don't know, like anything through their mics and you would just have to live with it. Those were the days, boys.
Those were the days.
No, it's incredible how far Smite's come.
That is awesome.
Well, I'm definitely, like I said, excited for, the next couple of weeks and seeing what comes of, the podcast and all the games, and it's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
It is. I can't wait for it.
But I think if we don't have any more questions lined on up, folks, if we can go through just one more time, going through who you are, what do you do, what you got plans for this season, but we'll go ahead and start with you if you want to say again who you are to this league, and what you're most excited about.
I am Poe, and I am the owner of Quacken Smite League. We've been around since 2020. I'm most excited about just getting folks playing the game, keeping them excited about it, and moving into Smite 2, which is so exciting that they are putting that on a different engine, and it just looks really awesome to play. I can't wait to play it, actually.
Yeah.
And I just want to play it. And that's kind of me. I'm just here, and I share a lot of cat gifs everywhere, and I talk more in gifs than I do in words everywhere. So.
Can confirm. Can confirm.
Can confirm. Yep.
So be on the lookout for cat gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Henergy. I want to call you Henderson sometimes. I don't know why. I'll get better at it. I'll write your name down on the podcast.
That's a new one for me, but if that's what works for you, that's fine.
I'll get better, I promise.
I'm Henergy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and feel free to kind of, if you want to link anything as well, talk about where we can find you, YouTube, Twitch,
sure.
Twitter, anything like that. Same right goes out to you, Poe, but we're kind of in your league. So I feel like most of your information's here.
Yeah.
It is.
But yeah, I'm Henergy. I'm longtime coach, longer time player. Been playing since closed beta, mid to early 2012. I've got every god diamond for what that's worth. I'm looking forward really to getting more people invested in this kind of interim period in Smite. I think we've kind of skirted around a little bit already, but with there not being a pro league, the amateur league's got to kind of step it up and kind of bridge that gap until we get something resembling a pro league again, if that's what happens for Smite 2. And I'm looking forward to facilitating that here. Obviously, I get a cast for Quacken, but I cast for a few other leagues as well, so I'm sure I'll see some of you folks around. As far as social media links, I don't have too many. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's the same name as this. It's Henergy. And on Twitch, it's Henergy HD, where I will pretty often stream Duel.
Ooh, you're a Duel boy.
I am. I've made it a point to hit GM every year for the last 6 years, so that's my thing.
Maybe we don't 1v1 you.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
So cool.
It's one hand behind his back, and
hey, I will say my on her isn't great, so I'll take that matchup, and you'll probably win.
How about we play on her, you play Kepri?
I'll take those odds. I've got the tech. I've got the tech.
The
I've played it
Kepri tech?
before, so I've got the Kepri tech. It's okay. I'll delay the game. I'll still lose, but I'll delay the game by like 10 minutes, and then you'll want to quit out of frustration. That's my strategy.
A win's a win.
It's yeah, a W is a W. That's where you can find me, and I'm looking forward to casting and getting to know all of you guys better.
Absolutely. Same rights go out to you, Deadline. If you want to talk about where we can find you, what you're about, what you're excited for, the stage is yours, my man.
Again, Deadline, captain for TKC Puddles, as well as a competitive multi-title FPS player for the organization under. Y'all can find me at Twitter and Twitch, D3ADLIE. Stream there, Smite, Apex, you name it. Feel free to come out, and I'm looking forward to the podcast and keeping this going and how the rest of the season goes.
Nice and quick. Folks, I'm really Reed. I just want to say thank you out to the chat. We had a very kind of engaging chat today. I love seeing the interaction. I want to make sure here in QSL that we do more to kind of encourage chat interaction, because you guys really breathe the life into this whole thing around Twitch, into the live streams. This part of the community is my favorite. I just see you guys talking your shit into the channels below. Sorry to curse on the end there. Try to prevent myself, but my brain just kind of does that thing where it runs off into a lapse. My name's Really Reed. You can find me on everywhere, like Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. That's not Riley Reed. That's Really Reed. No relation, folks. But either way, that is going to be the first QSL podcast. I think, as pilots go, pretty solid.
I would concur.
Hell yeah.
Solid.
Folks, I don't have an end screen. There's one in the files I could have applied, but I forgot to. So we're going to be ending it here very shortly. But either way, I always like to say, fail hard, fail fast. And I'll see you later, lads. Peace.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
left, San Diego.
Take care.